Why is North Korea worse than South Korea? They have no soul. And if one thing is clear, it's that North Korea's military deployment in Ukraine is an example of cold-hearted pragmatism. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, just 17 hours ago, in February of 2026, North Korea announced its military would be deployed into Russia. An entire special forces unit consisting of about 16,000 men and some of the best equipment and training that North Korea can offer. And as CNN estimates just 15 hours ago, in the several months that this unit has been in Ukraine, it has suffered heavy casualties, with up to 6,000 of the original 16,000 men no longer with us. So it's one considering that the Bank of Korea recently released estimates for North Korea's economy saying that it grew by up to 3.7% this quarter, and moreover, as the regime is less and less isolated on the international stage, it becomes crucial for the North Korean government to consider what they can do to continue this economic boom and slow entry into the international community. This brings me to today's all-important question. Is it time for North Korea to withdraw its forces supporting the Russian war on Ukraine? And from a North Korean perspective, the answer to this question is actually no. North Korea should maintain its forces in Ukraine for three key reasons. Firstly, Russian economic and food aid. Secondly, Russian military aid. And lastly, because now North Korean commanders can test their tactics and weaponry against Western tactics and weaponry. But first, at the latest Workers' Party conference, Kim Jong-un touted the nation's economic growth, promising both sweets and bullets. But as an American, I was confused. Aren't sweets and bullets the same thing? And if one country is giving a lot of their sweets and bullets to North Korea, it's Russia. According to the BBC News just 15 hours ago, Russia has provided an immense amount of economic aid to Russia, paying the country tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in internationally recognized currency, which is either the ruble or the dollar, in exchange for every North Korean soldier. Moreover, The Economist estimates that Russia has delivered hundreds of tons of food to North Korea in order to alleviate shortages in exchange for North Korean forces fighting abroad in Ukraine. Therefore, considering the regime's increasing economic output and the country's economic growth, it would be foolish and potentially suicidal to the country's economic growth to withdraw its forces at this point, as it would end the Russian payments for soldiers and also likely significantly cut the food aid that the country is receiving. However, Kim Jong-un has repeatedly touted a new and clear future for the countries. Has repeatedly touted a new and clear future. But I guess he really means a nuclear future. And if one country is helping North Korea achieve this nuclear future, it's Russia. According to the South Korean Economic Daily, on May 17th of 2026, Russia has provided an immense amount of military aid to North Korea in exchange for the deployment of every single soldier. Moreover, as the Times of Korea estimates on May 15th of 2026, Russia has also provided North Korea exclusive access to the country's nuclear weapons, allowing North Korean scientists to study them and apply the principles that Russia has in their nuclear weapons to strengthen their own and build more nuclear weapons. Therefore, from the perspective of the North Korean regime, it would be foolish to withdraw from Ukraine, because Russia is providing an immense amount of aid to North Korea in order to help strengthen their military. However, Russia is not just providing military aid to Ukraine, but is also allowing its generals to fight to test their new tactics, which brings me to the third and final reason why North Korea should not withdraw from Ukraine. I was deeply distressed by recent news from North Korea stating that they could now hit New York City with nuclear bombs. And if it can make it there, it can make it anywhere. And it's not just nuclear weapons that North Korea's military intervention is strengthening, but also the quality of its army itself. The Guardian reports on April 1st of 2026 that now that North Korean soldiers are seeing actual combat, they can test their military strategies and improve on them. And perhaps more importantly, according to Deutsche Welle on April 15th of 2026, North Korea North Korea can test the new Russian weapons that it is being provided, and also test its indigenous weaponry against Western technology. And while Western technology is likely superior, it could potentially expose flaws within North Korea and Russia's military equipment. Taking a step back, while North Korea's military intervention has certainly costed a lot and has again proven the regime has no soul, it could actually be a really good thing for North Korea to continue this military intervention. It would be foolish at this point for North Korea to withdraw from Ukraine for three key reasons. Firstly, Russian economic and food aid. Secondly, Russian military aid, which is strengthening the country's economy and, or rather, army and nuclear weapons. And lastly, the fact that North Korean commanders can now test their military tactics and weapons against actual Western trained and armed forces. Thank you.